Hey everyone, welcome back to Ratchet Builds. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this GTX 1070 that I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace because it had some artifacting issues while in extreme gameplay. Now, I've been running some tests on this card for the last couple of days. I probably clocked about 10 hours worth of Hogwarts Legacy on this card, and I ran at about 2 hours worth of benchmarking on this card. And I've yet to find any kind of artifacting or issues with the card, except for a little bit high temps. I've seen it hit up into the 80 to 85C range. But let's get into this card and some of its specifications, and then we're going to actually run it through some tests to see, is this card worth buying for gaming in 2023? So a little bit about these cards. This is my 1060 from the previous video. This is the Pascal architecture. It's got 6 gigs of DDR5 in it and setting right at 1,280 CUDA cores. The 1070 that I recently picked up, this is also a Pascal architecture, setting at about 8 gigs of DDR5 and about 1,920 CUDA cores. With the difference of these two cards, I want to see what the performance is going to be, but that'll be a little bit later in this video. I've already did pre-testing on my 1070 card here, just in the condition that it arrived in. And on this card, I paid around $60 for it with shipping and everything off of Facebook Marketplace. But the first thing that I want to get done to this card is I want to go ahead and pull it open and get thermal paste put on it, check my thermal pads, and just go ahead and make sure that's all cleaned up before we do the testing for this video. Alright, with the new thermal paste, let's go ahead and get this installed into the computer. We need to delete all of our old drivers, make sure we've got the most up-to-date graphics driver installed, and then we can actually start getting some testing done with this. Alright, so we just got our PC booted back up with our drivers cleared out of it. So the first thing we're going to do is install the latest driver. Now, Windows will pull its own driver for the graphics card, but we want to make sure we're at the most up-to-date driver. We're going to go to their official website. Now, after being on the website, we know this is a GeForce. We are a 10 series, GTX 1070. I am running Windows 11 on this one. I'm going to do the game-ready driver. We're going to search for it, and it looks like we have a release date of 2/8 of 2023. So this is actually real recent. So we're going to download. Now, I don't use GeForce Experience on my systems. I do just a basic clean install, and I go and check the drivers periodically to make sure that I have the most up-to-date one. All right, guys, so the test just got finished with Heaven Benchmark. Looks like our average frames per second was a 192.8. Our score is 4,856, minimum frames was 40, and our max frames was 374. I'm going to put up on the screen here also what it was compared to the 1060. Enough with the testing, let's go ahead and get into some gaming. I'm going to go ahead and start off with Doom Eternal. We're going to go Valheim, and then I want to go ahead and run Hogwarts Legacy to see how this is going to perform. Now, keep in mind, I do have screen recording on when doing this, so it can hurt the performance some. We're going to start off with Doom Eternal. So with the game loaded up, first thing we're going to do is go over here to the video quality and make sure my settings are all set. So we're at 1920 by 1080. We're in native. We only got the one monitor on. One thing I want to make sure of is the quality that we're setting at. So let's get down here. Motion blur off, good. So I got motion blur quality down to low. Everything is still set to nightmare from our previous testing. So it's all still the same. So let's go ahead and launch this game and get started. So jumping into Doom Eternal. Got a bunch of characters here jumping around. I haven't seen any lows. We're pretty much locked right at around the 75 frames per second this whole time. I need to find another area for more people. Let's grab this health. So got a whole bunch of people here. hitting me, and my frames are still staying locked at pretty much the 75 almost the entire time, it looks like. I haven't seen it dip, go up, or falter in any kind of way, really. I need to shoot that gun, and I'm dead. But all in all, in Doom, it looks like this thing is running pretty phenomenally. I know in the 1060, whenever I was running it, I hit lows of about 45, and it would range around 65 to 75 bouncing. This thing's pretty locked on. Unless I've got something different on the settings, which I did check, I don't see an issue with this graphics card. This thing is running pretty smooth. But let's go ahead and exit out of this game, and I'm going to go to the next game that I know I had issues running, which was Valheim. Whenever I first loaded in that game, I stayed around 30 to 40 frames per second, and I actually had to drop all the settings down to medium to even be able to play it. All right, guys, we're jumping into Valheim here. So in Valheim, I've went ahead and changed all my settings back up to high from my previous testing. Still got motion blur off. So I just want to show that here so that way y'all know what settings I'm running. And we're going to close the menu. I had to play the game for just a little bit to let the daylight actually come back, so that way we could get a same comparison as the 1060. Right now I'm just trying to find some water. But the game is already running, as you can see, at about 100 to 80 frames per second. I haven't seen it really drop anything lower. This card is running Valheim much, much better than what the previous card on the 1060 was doing. We're going to run up here to this opening to where there's a lot of trees and a lot of stuff that's got to be rendered in. I actually kind of want to see if I can put this on very high and see what it'll do, because we're just on high settings right at the moment, but I'm pretty impressed with the card. It's just amazing on how just one series up changed so much on the view of this. Like, even the trees look a little bit better to me than what it did in the previous one. The grass looks a little bit better. And it's a little bit smoother than what it was at the previous one, even being in medium settings. But this game is still very playable for a GPU that I got lucky on. So we're gonna go ahead and close out of this game. The next game I want to boot into is going to be Hogwarts Legacy, because I have been playing that. I've got about 10 hours, maybe a little bit more, playing on this system as well in Hogwarts before I re-thermal pasted, so I'm really interested to see if that's going to change anything. Hogwarts is where I saw a lot of my higher temperatures running at like 80, 85 C. I never noticed it really getting above that, but it's a possibility. So that's the reason I wanted to re-thermal paste it, to get those temperatures back down. The thermal paste felt like it had probably dried up some and wasn't transferring the heat like it's supposed to. That is pretty evident after doing the testing on this, because I'm not hitting my 80C anymore in the benchmark. It hung around 75 previously. Right now it's hitting around that 70, 72C that I see it at max, and it pretty much maintains it at that, even running the benchmark continuously back to each other. All right, with Hogwarts Legacy loaded in here, we're gonna go in here and check our settings. What's cool about this game is it has like a benchmarking to go ahead and set all your audio or all your graphic settings for you. So that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm actually just gonna run this benchmark and see what it picks for me. Previously, I was on all medium settings, and it says that it's already completed. Let's see if it throws me on the same thing, which it looks like it did. It just went full medium settings for just about everything, it looks like. No ray tracing, nothing like that is turned on. So let's go ahead and exit out of this, and actually let's see on how it plays. Let's see how it plays in the game. Let's just go into this other room. Actually, while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of maintenance for this game, because I've got some stuff that I need to collect and do. But all in all, running around through here, it looks like everything's pretty good. Let's get out into this hallway and see what's out here. Oh man, whenever I change rooms in this game, that's when it seems to really be hitting hard. Like in this smaller room here, I don't know. See, even in the small room it's hitting pretty bad. So let's go out here to a bigger room where I have more to load. So I'm getting up to like the 70 frames per second and stuff like that, but it's not staying up there. It's dropping down pretty bad in between. Granted, I don't know if I can notice it in the game. Let me find an area where I can walk. Yeah, I can feel the hitching of it as I run. All right, let's go back into my settings real quick and see if we can adjust this down a little bit to make this more playable. Hey guys, Future Robert here. I was editing a video, took a break to actually play some games just to take my mind off of editing. Started playing the Hogwarts game again on the 1070, and I realized that my frames were back up, almost staying at the 60 frames per second a good majority of the time through the game. I was still getting a few drops down into like 55, 54 frames per second, but I wasn't hitting into that 40 and 30 like I was in the video. What I started thinking about is this time I was running the game without OBS running in the background for the screen capture or MSI Afterburner for the data showing up on the screen. I think that was taking a big hit to my performance on the card. I even turned everything back up to medium settings, and still had some dips in some areas, but not as often as it was showing in the video of almost every time I was taking a turn or going to a new room. In the video, I was dipping real bad. Whenever I play it without all that running, it was staying closer to the 55 to 60 frames per second. Still not great, don't get me wrong, but it's still very much playable. I just want to put that clip in here just to give y'all the update on it. I mean, the game seems to be playable like this. I just noticed a little bit of hitching and stuff. And it seems like there's more in it than what it was previously before I did the driver update to it. Well, that's enough with the Hogwarts Legacy game here. Alright, so with the gaming out of the way, my thoughts on the 1070 is I would still buy it in today's time, especially if I'm doing a budget build or a beginner's build for somebody that's going to be playing games. The graphics card still holds up pretty good to most games. There are always going to be some games that it's not going to be able to run. And if you're edging towards playing those games, then it may be a time to consider to either upgrade, or instead of doing the 10 series, go ahead and do a 20 series or a 30 series, or you could go ahead and jump all the way to a 40 series if you wanted to and skip all those lower generations. The only nice thing is for a $60 graphics card, to me it'd be worth it to put it in the rig to be able to get playtime in it if you're still saving up to get a higher end graphics card or something like that. Now, I did kind of look these up online after I bought this card. Most of the 1070s are still going anywhere between 150 to 200, it looks like, and that's glancing at eBay and Amazon and then just the regular marketplace that I run to. So it's all up to your opinion on what games you're going to be playing and what work case you're going to be having the graphics card used for. So definitely always do your research. Make sure that you're finding the proper card that's going to work for what you need it to work for, and go for it that way. So I hope this gave some information to y'all, especially on trying to pick out graphics cards or figure out what you're going to be doing for a budget build or your next gaming PC. So until next time, thank y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Nothing else, check out my other video about the GTX 1060, and I'll catch y'all next time. Thank you.